Welcome to More For Me with yours truly, Kat Necole. What up, homie? What's going on? I pray that all is well this week. How you doing? Whoa, where did Medea come from? Don't know. I am a little subdued this afternoon, kind of chilling. Got a lot of thoughts on my mind. They are all over the place, people. But I did want to make time to come hang out with my homies here on this good homieship. Welcome to the studio. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to join you and kick it, even if it's only once a week, and even if it's only one of you showed up just to have a little bit of a conversation, a little fireside chat. No, not really. Hey, on the inside, I'm actually really excited this week, preparing to go home. Literally, visit the 313. Boop, right there. Yep, going home to Detroit. And when it's time to go home, I'm a pretty calm person. That's not true. I'm not calm. I like to pretend to be chill about things and not show that I'm excited. But I literally start working up in my mind, and I'm gonna be real with you. It all starts with food. People back home may be thinking like, oh, did she think of me? Like, will she make time, to come stop by, want to see the kids, want to hang out, blah, 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 blah. It all starts with food. I'm going to this place at least twice. I know I'm not supposed to be eating potato chips, but Better Made chips, that's Detroit brand. I'm gonna have some Better Made chips. And then there's these hot Cheeto extraordinaire chips, but they're not by Cheetos. They're like curls or something. They're super hot. I used to eat them back in the day. So every now and again, I pick up a bag of those and tear up my stomach, Not supposed to be eating that unhealthy stuff, but I like that. There's a pizza spot that I really love. Like, that's all home. So that's also on my mind. So I'm looking forward to it. And funny that most of that stuff I actually shouldn't be eating these days or have removed them from my diet. I don't go home often, but I'm going to eat some pretty soon. And that makes me happy. All right. So besides being happy and ramping up to being excited about being able to go home, I'm actually excited about taking a break. I have been thinking this past week, I'm like, man, each day passes, I get a little bit more tired. And I say, you know what? I might not take any work with me. You can always sneak in some, oh, let me just check a few emails. Oh, let me just. I think I might fully unplug. Might. I'm still on the might. I haven't fully committed to the idea, but it is supposed to be vacation. All right, so moving on from me eating and slightly being disobedient / not doing what I'm supposed to do. What do we want to get into this week, guys? Well, we've talked a bit about, how we could stand in our own way. Like rather recently here, talking about how we more could be right in front of you, right? And you're just not walking it, you're not receiving it, and what's really holding us back from our more. Well, I wanted to dig into that a little bit more and talk about this topic called inner vows. Reason why inner vows came up specifically, I had the privilege of engaging in a workshop at church, the Enneagram experience, because our sermon series has been talking about the Enneagram, understanding the gospel and the gram, right? The Enneagram is a tool to tell you like who you are, tell you about yourself. But then you have the gospel, and that's connected to who we should be, right? So leveraging this tool to better understand ourselves as we move to being made into the image of Christ. And so at the workshop, one of the things that came up in one of our activities was identifying inner vows that we have made. And I was thinking about it first. Let's just be honest. What else can we be besides honest? I was like, I don't really feel like doing that exercise. And French just chuckled, but I'm not sure if he's distracted or laughing at me because I legit was like, I don't feel like doing the exercise. And I wrote it down. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, I don't really know. And in the workshop, they began talking more about what an inner vow is, because you could see that some people were a little bit confused or perplexed in terms of what exactly is an inner vow. And I had a couple come to mind that I wrote them down, but it's something that I'm going to revisit. But as I began to think about it, without getting into the weeds of these are my inner vows, I actually began to process and think on, wow, I wonder if there are some things that I have a desire to do that have been laid on my heart, but that I'm not doing because of an inner vow. So with that, do you know what an inner vow is? Let's talk about it. I was thinking about it. Like an inner vow is, Catherine this definition, right? Is a commitment that you've made, a vow that you've made to yourself that you're willing to keep at all costs, like good or bad. But that commitment, that vow, is usually made or stems from a place of pain or suffering. Now, as I was trying to explore it some more, Mark Driscoll dropped some knowledge on me in terms of inner vows, and that sometimes that vow can be made to God, sometimes it's just made to ourselves. But when that vow is made, we end up replacing God and relying upon that vow. So we know that sin separates us from God. So we're not trying to replace God with anything. So, hey, this vow controls, protects, and does all this stuff for me. It provides me with what I need. But that's God. That's what God does, right? So an inner vow stems from a place or is made in a place of pain, some type of suffering or hurting, but it's a commitment that you make at all, and that you're willing to keep at all costs to protect yourself in whatever way. So what could an inner vow be? Generally, it's associated, I think about like the I can't, I won't, that will never, no, not me. Those type of phrases come along like, I'm never having kids, or I'm never getting married. It sounds like just words that you're saying, but really there's a vow and a commitment that you made to yourself and that you may subconsciously live in a way for those things not to happen. But you may be speaking, but God having something else for your life. And so hopefully you let all that marinate, stir it up in the crock pot there. How could that connect to me not walking in and receiving the more that God has for me? I am still literally marinating on these things and trying to do some unearthing, right? So definitely plan to spend some more quiet time digging into it, because sometimes they're major things, right, that just stand out. They're real big. When people ask me about having more children, I tend to say something that is silly, but it is directly connected to, no, man, why would you ask me that? It's basically what it boils down to. I know people like for people to have kids, but it's like, no, I don't want any more kids. Have a little saying, to and through. And people are like, oh, you got a boy and a girl, that's why you're done. Like, no, we have two, we're through. If there were two boys or there were two girls, I think I would be through. But like, I've made a firm commitment to not have any more kids, like legit. So that will be something, but that's pretty obvious. But there could also be things that are not so obvious, and then they're more subtle about who you are, what you can't do, what you can achieve, that you've taken a hold on to, and you're living it out. Oh, no one from my family has ever done that. We don't do things like that. Well, who is we, and why can't you? So you for me, I know that I have to take some more time with it and really sit with that thing, and want to encourage you guys to do the same thing. Have you made any inner vows, commitments that you should not have, that allow for you to put yourself in control and put God in the back seat, or either kick him out the car on this journey towards the destination of more that God has for you? Have you made any of those vows that are actually hurting you right now and no longer serving their purpose, quote unquote, although they would have never served a purpose since they were sinful. But have you made any vows that are holding you up from reaching that destination of more that God has for you? There are a lot of things that we look to control, and, hey, what can I do? What's my part? And then let God do the rest. But is there something that we've subconsciously or very intentionally said, hey, I'm going to control this part and God can have the rest? It's worth doing the work. I'm committing to actually doing the work, even though in that moment I was like, I don't know if I want to dig into this. It is something that I want to dig into because I really do want the more that God has for me. And I think that there are some things that have been on my heart for a while. And it's like, hey, I want to walk in this fully and experience what it is that God has for me. Even though it may not be easy, the simplicity of submitting and surrendering to God and just being obedient. I'm going to practice that obedience in this season. So that's what I was thinking about today. Wanted to give you guys something to chew on and begin to explore and discover what's inside of you, what's in your head, what's on your mind and in your heart. Self-awareness is the best awareness. And as you understand yourself more, you can allow God to come into that space and understand him more so that we can be propelled forward on our journey towards a destination of more. I pray that you make the time to do it. I pray that God reveals to you some things that you've said to yourself, to unearth those things and then to dismantle those lies, those vows, and allow for him to do what only he can do in and through you. That's it for this week, guys. I pray that you have an amazing week. And until we meet here again next week, same mode, same time, same place, remember, God has more for me and God has more for you. Now let's get it. Take care.